Welcome to the JBM Author Spotlight, where we celebrate transformative stories and authentic voices. I'm Sophia and Barnett, the lead publisher here at JBM Publishing Company. And today, I'd like to introduce you to not only my work as an author, but to the vision behind JBM. Before we talk about books, I know you guys would love to get to know the woman behind the vision. Part 1, the woman behind the vision. Tell us about yourself. Who is Sophia M. Barnett beyond the titles? You know, it took me a long time to recognize that I was more than just my identity, or should I say, I was more than the things I identified with, right? For a long time, I was always mother, I was always caregiver, I was wife, I was the parent, right? There's more than one thing when it comes to being a mother and or parenting. So let's not get it twisted. Um, I was a child. I was a child of God. I was a daughter. I was an entrepreneur. I was a financial advisor. I was a manager. I had all these different titles and all these different roles. And today I answer this question very simply, quite poetically, if you think I think so. Um, I consider myself nothing and everything all at the same time. If someone met you today, what would you hope they remembered about you after the conversation? That I am extremely transparent. I used to joke around and call myself the open book with hidden chapters. In this day and age, I'm more like just the open book with open chapters. You can ask me anything, and I'll tell you straight up like it is. Like, I generally don't ever bite my tongue, but I will hold a thought. Everything doesn't have to be shared. Your life has included ministry, entrepreneurship, financial education, nonprofit leadership, publishing, and authorship. Was this always part of God's plan for your life, or did it unfold one step at a time? It definitely unfolded in multiple layers. I had no idea that I would be sitting here today as a lead publisher. I always wanted to be a writer since I was in kindergarten. And I used to use that as like my personal tool for therapy. Um, when you grow up with people who are born in the 1920s, they don't really have an emotional intelligence level, for lack of a better sentiment. They come from that slave mentality, right? So it's do as I say. You are to be seen, not heard. And so a lot of my feelings, a lot of the frustrations that I had with abandonment issues, it my writing is what developed that. Um, but I truly believe that I had to go through like the whole process of everything. Like if I turned 18 and jumped straight into being an author, this long line of experience that I've had doing all those things would not have developed me into who I am today. So almost like I would have did like a shortcut or a short jump. You know, birds, right? They mama pushed them out the nest and they say they learn how to fly on the way down. But all of them don't always fly. Some of them fall to the ground and realize, I don't want that to happen again. And so I needed to have all of those highs and the lows, the breath and the pauses to be able to truly understand how to be in this position the correct way in this season. So it appears that you started answering the next question. What experiences have shaped the woman you are today? I find myself going into JBM much more organized, having a very clear understanding of how businesses run, right? The need to have all of your processes and SOPs in 100% order before you do any type of marketing or any type of promotions. Um, all my past ventures was jump in head first. I was running, right? They just say jump off the cliff and build the parachute on the way down. I was definitely doing that. And I would tell anybody, if you had to put life and death in the palm of your hands to build something, it never comes out good. Because you just doing it to try to stay afloat. Like, you're not really building on a firm foundation. What values guide every decision you make? Oh, this is a good question. What values? First and foremost, honesty. I'm one of those people, if I can't tell you the truth, then I won't say anything at all. I'm very good about, like I said earlier, being respectful with my answers. And so it's one of those things I don't think you can handle. And yes, I know that's my opinion of handling, right? Um, if it's one of those things that I feel like is going to be disrespectful, I'd rather just not say anything at all. Um, Another value is putting my whole heart and my soul in everything that I do. I've learned over the last 6 months that you have to be extremely present. That is the only time that you truly feel the divine's presence on you. Um, Loving everything that you do, being a wonderful financial and time steward. um, and keeping people around you who you both feed. Like, it's a intersection of love that co-creates together. Chapter 2, Falling in Love with Words. Do you remember the first time you realized words had power? The first time I remember words had power. So my initial response that came to my head was when I had joined Full Gospel, and my pastor, currently apostle, she was very, very passionate about getting us to understand the power of life and death is in the tongue. That was my initial thought that came to me. But honestly, the first time I realized words had power was when I thought I was going to be a rapper when I was in elementary school. And I always joke with people and I tell them, like, listen, our influences in the 90s were the Little Kims and the Elnooks. And, well, my writing style did not defer too far from that at all. And so, I wrote a whole album. Uh, and had a group. It was called the SNS Sisters. I'm trying to remember what the title is on the page, but I can't. I can just see the SNS coming down the line paper. And I typed it all up. Mind you, elementary school, I had my computer, so I was doing something. Typed it all up, made it pretty. I was so excited. I was going to show the girls when I got out of school. And I walked in the house, and my mom, auntie, uncle, and everybody sitting in the living room, and they are laughing at my what I thought was ingenious writing. And so that tore me down to a different place. What inspired you to begin writing? Yes, I answered this already. It was my form of therapy, especially after my songs got completely annihilated and humiliated. Comedy is. I remember when I went in my mother's room and I found my papers and I politely took it out. I don't have a printed copy, but I do still have the written ones to this day. I decided to translate my frustrations and my writing into poetry. It was one of those things that I felt like you can use all the colorful words and imagery, and nobody ever really knows what you're talking about, right? People decipher it based off of their own experiences and personal outcomes. And so that was my way of being able to express myself in a hidden way, but still doing the thing that I was very passionate about. Who first encouraged your gift? Was it Miss Davis, third and fourth grade, or Miss Roberts, fourth and fifth grade? Ladies, please forgive me. It's been a long time. Well, whatever teacher it was between those two, he talked about my handwriting being very light. And I didn't realize the reason I was writing so light is because I was hiding behind what I was writing, right? I was hiding behind my words. And so when she told me to start writing with a pen, and it was still just as light, the irony. Um, she broke that down to me. She says, "You're an excellent writer. There's no need for you to hide it." And she used to get us in oratorical contests and writing contests and speeches. And then that was one thing that really like pushed that baby out to the surface. What made you believe your story deserved to be published? Ooh. So I did it. uh, all my friends would joke and tell you that I've been telling them since we was kids. I'm talking about like 9, 10, 11, that I was going to write the book of my life when I turned 18. Like, it deserves to be published. People need to know that this is it. And by the time I turned 18, all of the trauma, all of the distractions, all of the life completely like squeezed that thing out of me or buried it deep within me. Um, so I never for a long time, like even to this date, I'm ashamed to say I still have 12 books on my hard drive that I've written that I have not published, which was the reason JBM even came to be, is because November 2023, that final push was, you have to do this now. And that's how Wisdom Proverbs got here. Was there ever a time you doubted yourself as a writer? What helped you keep going? I don't doubt my writing. Let me say that. Like, I know when I put a pen to a piece of paper or my fingers to the keyboard, something magical gonna happen. Like, you can call it cocky, you can call it confident. I'll call it confidence, right? Like, I truly understand that that is a gift that I have. But, um, I have a huge doubt and underlining fear of people judging what I write. Uh, yes, I can know deep down within my soul that it is excellent, right? But the thoughts and the opinions of other people paralyzed me for a very long time from just releasing the work. Chapter 3, The Birth of JBM Publishing Company. Why did you create JBM Publishing Company? So back to the story of the November 2023 threat from the Lord. I heard deep down in my spirit, like, you gotta write this book now. I'm not asking you again. And that was huge shakeup in my bones. You hear me? We all sometimes get those warnings, we get those threats, we get those inklings. I didn't want to play with this one. And so my mentor and I were sitting down talking, and I expressed it to her, and she said, "Oh, I'll edit your book for you." And so I went through rummaging through all of the hard drives, trying to figure out which one of these I was going to publish, and just none of them felt right. And finally, questions about JBM. So, January of 2024, when I finally made up my mind and my heart that I was going to put this book out, I wanted my kids to be my first publishers, my young adults, my crew, my children. And so, in their honor and legacy, and growing family development and understanding that we needed a family business, right? JBM was birthed. So JBM are their initials. Jordan Barnett Martin, and it just sounds right. So that's what we went with. What gap did you see in the publishing industry? One of my main concerns, the reason why I wanted to self-publish is because I didn't want any rules or regulations on what I wrote and what I decided to put out. I can be very creative with my words if you get my drift. I didn't need anybody trying to edit me down or trying to blur me out. I'm so glad that we live in a society and a system that truly affirms our right to free speech. And so, hey, if you could talk it, you should be able to print it. What makes JBM different from traditional publishers? Just that. If you like slang, if you don't have all the right words, if you find yourself stuttering, if you have a problem with gathering your thoughts and your ideas and putting them on paper, that is what makes us different because we want you, right? We want everyone who is flawed in every way, passion, shape, and or form. And I don't use the word flaw as a negative thing. I use it meaning that you find yourself challenged, wanting to birth the book. That you know that you've had that creative idea, you know that you've been inspired, but you just have not been able to get it out. And so, instead of you just sending us a manuscript and we putting it through the editing process and correcting everything, right? So it's grammarly correct. uh, we allow ourselves to hear your voice, right? That's why we are called. That's why our punchline is authentic voices, transformative stories, because it's you speaking. And like I'm a huge component of using exclamation marks all over the place, and I don't care that it defines emotion. I like the way they look, and it emphasizes the things that I say. Most publishing companies will immediately edit them out. Like, this is not proper, this is not accurate, whatever. What experience do you want every author to have when they work with JBM? I want you to have fun with the writing process. Like, even if it's um, a grieving story, or even if it's painful, like, let us be your therapy. Let us give you that opportunity to be able to release it. And if it is something that's exciting or something thrilling or something imagination or something that's never been heard of ever, right? You're the first to create that. We want to be able to experience the joy when you get to hold that baby in your hand. Ooh, listen, it's nothing like it. Your company motto is transformative stories, authentic voices. How did that become the heartbeat of JBM? It's really the other way around. Uh, so authenticity, right? Transparency, vulnerability, your truth, what you stand in, what you believe, who you are. That's your voice. And I pray that nobody has stifled that in any way because I know exactly what that feels like to been speaking your truth and for it to get completely like laughed at or shunned at. Um, when it comes to the birthing process, right? So we've gathered all of that of who you are. Now, that's the DNA. Once it's birthed, it's not for you. That's where the transformative stories part come in, right? Now, others get to witness your bravery. They get to witness your life. They get to witness your experiences. They get to witness your comedy. They get to witness your fun, your freedom. And now they feel inspired to want to do the same. What makes a voice authentic? Truth. That's it. Chapter 4, Becoming an Author. Let's talk about your first book. How did it begin? You can tell I did not read through any of these questions because I want this to be as raw and truthful as honest. So y'all know how it began. No, so my very, very first book that I ever wrote in my life was called My Tower of Inspirations, Something for the Family. And I wrote it my ninth grade year at McKenzie High School, home of the Stags. Uh, and it was because I was bored. Um, my ninth grade year, I only had a 1 to 7, and so and it's because I had like advanced classes in middle school, and so they messed up my schedule, and they put me in. I hate to say it this way, but it's the only way that I can say it. They put me in a remedial 10th grade algebra and biology class. It was like 6 students in there. Wonderful students. I loved them. Like, we became friends. The issue was that whenever I got in these classes, I was done my work within 5 minutes. And so I started asking my teachers, can I just go to the library? And when I was in there, it just came to me, write a book. And so started writing all these poems, got all my old poems together, put them all together, making it nice and pretty. Yes, I still have the original copy of that print. Uh, I got all my friends' poems that they had wrote for assignments and stories and put them in there. And so that was technically my very first book that I've ever written. What surprised you most about becoming an author? How easily it was blessed. That's what made me realize after I had time to sit back and ponder the whole process. Like when I tell you everything lined up in place and opportunities presented itself that I never would have asked for, just out of being obedient to get it done. I ended up on CBS News because of it. Like, we're going to be able to publish so many people's books because of my yes. Um, so I think that has been the biggest surprise. What part of the writing process challenged you the most? Submit, enter, send. The writing part is not hard to me. It's the now having to be vulnerable and show people my inner thoughts. Like sending that to the editor. Like sending that to the editor. Like but when you get the feedback, it becomes appreciative because then you like, you get me. Like somebody else thinks the same way I do. And you honestly would be surprised. There are a lot of people out here in the world who really do share some of your sentiments. They're just in the same position you're in, too afraid to share them out loud. Which chapter or poem was the hardest to write and why? So in this case of Wisdom Proverbs, none of that counted. Like I literally accumulated all of my poetry together. The hardest part was trying to figure out how to put them in a sensical order so that it flowed. That was the hardest part. And once I realized that I really wanted to like give honor to God in this way, by using Proverbs as my lead thoughts for each chapter, it fell directly into place at that point. Now, the hardest part of other books that I have written is generally the conclusion, because I have found that with a lot of my books, I'm talking about experiential stuff and I'm still living it. And so it's like, if I'm still in the middle of it, how do I end it? It wasn't until my most recent book, Pack, that I'm working on now, or and ready to send to the editor, that I realized that everything doesn't have to have a perfect ending. Did writing change you? JBM Publishing changed me. Um, this whole process made me realize that I love helping people find who they are. And I've done that in every way imaginable, from being a parent, from being a manager, from being a business owner, from being an executive director, from being a friend, from being a wife. I've always, hey, you got an idea? Hey, you doing this? Hey, you got this? Let me help you. And so, for the first time, I don't feel like I'm doing this just to try to get some money out of it. I don't feel like I'm doing this just because I have to get something done. Like, the freedom that I have within my soul, because I get to write for a living. And the addition to that is just being able to bless everybody else because of my obedience. I wouldn't change any of all this leading up this for the world. Chapter 5, Purpose over Popularity. Many people write to sell books. Why do you write? That's where you can't make this stuff up. I did not read these questions at all. I wanted it to be wrong. Um, I write because I get to see my thoughts. I get to hear God. I get to connect to the divine, to my inner self. I get to love on my inner child. I get to heal wounds. I get to be free. If every reader walked away remembering only one thing from your work, what would you want that to be? Be you in every sense. All of your traumas, all of your challenges, all of your joys, all of your highs, all of your lows, all of your best memories. Just be you in every way that you have been. Love on all of the parts of yourself that you feel are the most abandoned, the most destructed, the most destroyed. Um, just be you. How do faith and purpose influence your writing? It's funny. The word for Sunday was about faith. Now faith. Every moment that I have to put together a website, put together a form, do the editing, do the creation, like I'm stepping in the now faith. Um, I'm a huge overthinker. You know, I do not have a problem getting in my head and dancing around and procrastinating and hesitating. And so, stepping and staying in the now faith allows myself to be 100% present, to be 100% in the moment. Like I told you earlier, you have to stay present. That's where you find your most peace. Because if you're living in the past, thinking about everything else, that is, where the anxiety sits on you. And if you're running towards the future, thinking about everything that you got to do, that's where the fear can come in. Because now you're scared of what's tomorrow, and it plays this within you. But the moment you're here, this is the only thing that exists, baby. Just that level of peace that comes. And I truly do believe this is my purpose. When I did therapy, the reoccurring theme in my whole entire life was always writing. No matter what it is I did, no matter what it is I created, no matter what it is, what business, what job, what activity, It always boils back down to writing. What responsibility do authors have to their readers? I feel like I'm saying the same answers over and over again, but to be real, to be 100% yourself, um, whatever you're writing, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, do it and put your wholeness into it. Like, there are so many major published authors right now who didn't even go by their own name. Teachers on, like, I get it. When you in a system that only recognizes certain genders for certain genres, you do what you got to do to make it. But I don't want that to be a blockage or a hindrance to the authors who come through this publishing house. When someone says your book changed my life, what does that mean to you? I don't think it changed it. I think it allowed you to see a part of yourself that you didn't see before. That it opened your eyes to a new way of being. Triggered that one thing that was going to jumpstart you on this road that you were supposed to automatically be on anyway for the journey. Chapter 6, Encouraging Future Authors. What's the biggest misconception people have about writing a book? That you got to be an amazing writer, that you got to know perfect English or whatever language you may speak, that publishing is hard, that the whole process is expensive. All of them are misconceptions. Couldn't tell you which one is the biggest one. What advice would you give someone who has carried a story inside them for years but hasn't started? So let's be 100% honest here. I have a theory. And this theory may get me in trouble, but I'm okay with that. We've all heard of the Bible. We've all heard of, these religious texts. And some way, somehow, the world said that the Bible ended 2,000 years ago. 2,026 years ago, to be exact. I think that's a lie. I think that we all have experience with the divine, and that each and every human who is here on this planet has a story. You have lived your experiences. You have overcame something. You have been challenged with something. You have found joy in something. You have been on a journey to find something to make you happy, to give you peace, to give you freedom. Whatever it may have been, you have been in search, right? We've all heard of the hero's journey. Shout out to Lori Barnett, who published a poetry book called Poetry and Letters, called The Hero's Journey. The book of Sharon, the book of James, the book of Jessica, the book of Matt, the book of Mark, the book of Pam, the book of Maria. It all should exist, and I truly do believe that. So, if you have the inkling to write about it, I just say, sometimes you may not have the nerve to want to put it to pen and paper. Sometimes you may not even know which of the many things that you have had challenges in your life that you want to use. Pick one. Just start one. And if it turns out to be an encyclopedia for the next generation to be able to glean the wisdom from, the knowledge, the experience, to give other people the shortcut to a form of success, it ain't worth you hiding it. How do you overcome writer's block? If you could sit across from every first-time author, what's the one thing you tell them before they begin? Start somewhere and start now. Chapter 7, Looking Ahead. What's next for Sophia and Barnett? Oh my God, this is just right. Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. JBM has given me an opportunity to be productively distracted. Um, Being able to see other people's dreams come to life in real time has been a blessing to me. But it has also been a slap in the face to Sophia. When are we gonna get the rest of these books out? So, um, next up, literally, um, prayers, wishes, good thoughts up that we make it to this panel coming up, JBM. Um, I'm going to continue to do my speaking. I believe that again, all of us have a testimony that should be shared with the masses. And my next book that's in process is Pack. Now, would that be the next one published? I don't know, but stay tuned to see. What's next for JBM Publishing Company? Ooh. So, this week we premiered live. We've been doing work since 2024, crazily enough. We already have 4 consistent writers on the team. Does that include me? That's not including me. Um, and so promote our authors. That is what's next up. Doing all the things a publishing house does well. And it's not just about selling books. It's about really amplifying the voices in the communities, of the communities, and for the communities. 5 years from now, what impact do you hope JBM has made on the literary world? 2031. I hope and pray by 2031 we have a whole library full of books from regular, everyday people who just want to tell their story. And it doesn't have to be a #1 New York Times bestseller. It doesn't have to end up on the Oprah Book Club, even though, Oprah, if you want to read my book. um, like, I want us to start our own genre, the everyday book, like for the everyday people. Rapid fire. Ooh. Morning or night? Morning. Coffee or tea? Coffee. Paperback or hardcover? Hardcover. Favorite place to write? By the water. One book everyone should read. Don't believe everything you think. Favorite author? Sophia and Barnett. Favorite scripture? Psalms 91:11. He will give his angels charge over you to guard you in all of your ways. One word that describes your life right now. Peaceful. One habit you never skip. Morning devotionals and prayer. Dream interview. I don't know. Let me think about that one. Dream speaking stage. Some big TED talk somewhere in the middle of Europe. Dream collaboration. I would love to do a book with Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm just saying. Favorite quote? I can't think of something quick. Biggest pet peeve while writing? Running out of ink. Music or silence? Both. Your favorite word? Sexy. One thing readers don't know about you. I'm not as serious as I seem. If this interview were placed inside a time capsule and opened in 100 years from today, what would you want people to remember about Sophia M. Barnett? And I feel like I found myself on the screen and I'm no longer afraid to hide behind it. Where can readers connect with you, follow your journey, and purchase your books? Well, I'm so glad you asked. You can purchase all of my upcoming books and current books on jbmpublishingco.com. You can also stop by my website, sophiambarnett.com. It is in the process of being redone. Hopefully, by the time you see this, it will be. That is my goal. All my social medias is Sophia underscore Mariah underscore Barnett. That's everything. And I'm always on JBM Publishing Broadcasting Network, so you can always find me here. And we're on Amazon too. That's just, so people know we legit. But we prefer you to purchase from our website. When future authors sit in this very seat for their own JBM Author Spotlight interview, what do you hope they feel? I hope all of my authors who find themselves on the other side of this screen, that you feel at ease, that you feel peaceful, and that you feel the love and joy that I hope to bring to each and every one of you. Every story begins with the courage to tell it. Remember that. Peace, love, and many blessings. Until next time.